I
issues.
literally had a bad experience in elementary school where I blew my nose in front of the whole class, and they were like, "Ew!" And so it scarred me for life. Never done it
It's
again.
funny because when I sneeze, it's like an earthquake, and I don't think I've rarely sneezed in class. I'm like, but when I sneeze,
Oh.
like I fall backwards, and it's
Oh,
like,
my dad goes,
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
"Achoo!"
yeah. I'm in that.
Very
I'm in that vein. Yeah.
That was so echoey.
I'm sorry. What's up, guys? We're dreamers, we're moms, and welcome to the Mommy Artist Podcast. Now let's get creatively unhinged. Today, I have with us in the studio the Emmy Award-winning writer, the man who brought Hannah and I together to make this show, and the most beloved professor at TCU, Professor Richard Allen.
Applause.
Okay, not only did I take many of his classes, but so did producer Hannah. So today, Richard, we're doing a little creative love letter to you. You taught us how to watch movies like a filmmaker, and you aren't afraid to get a little unhinged. So we like that here at Mommy Artist. So, welcome to this very special episode of the Mommy Artist Podcast, where today's vibe is a mix of gratitude, inspiration, and unhinged chaos. This is another full circle moment. He was a mentor and is a mentor to both me and Hannah. And honestly, so much of the way we see as artists, as storytellers, and as total over analyzers of movies, we owe to him. So let's give it up to Professor Richard Allen.
Woo!
Thank you. It's very sweet.
Fireworks.
We are so happy to have you on today.
Well, I'm
Yes.
happy to be here, and I didn't realize I was going to be on, so I'm actually
You're
nervous.
on. What a trio,
no,
guys.
don't be
What a-
nervous.
I am a little nervous
This
because.
is actually Hannah's first time
Yeah.
on. too.
Oh well, so
Well,
you're a little nervous.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little.
it's okay.
I'm usually on the other side of things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's because you have that positive nervous energy. Like it's so
Right.
exciting for you. Like every time you do it.
So actually, I'm making you all nervous. is
No,
what
no,
you're
I think
saying?
you're creating a sense of importance around the event that makes it exciting and heightens the stakes.
Thank you. No, stakes aren't high. Stakes like stakes are low. Honestly, here, like we're just we're here to have a good time. We're just thankful you're here. Really. We are both. Me and Hannah are gonna both talk about how we first met Professor Allen, or really how we first decided that, like, oh, this was gonna be more than just a normal class. Like, this was gonna be someone who's gonna like take us under our wing and mentor us.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna let you start
Yeah,
with your
sure.
story.
Coming to college, I was undecided. I had no idea what I wanted to major in. Well, I actually did. I came in as a psychology major.
Right.
And then I switched to undecided after like 2 hours.
As one does.
But yeah, so my freshman year, I was just kind of taking random classes, fulfilling the core, but mostly I was definitely like gravitating towards artsy classes.
Mhm.
I took like a lot of theater, arts leadership, arts business, and then film and TV aesthetics, which was Professor Allen's class.
Yes.
And I just loved it. And I'm coming from like an artistic background in terms of dance. I
Mhm.
danced my whole life basically. So quitting that as like a professional dancer and then transitioning to college, I knew I wanted to like find a new avenue for my
Mhm.
art and my
Like an
creativity.
outlet.
Yes, but I didn't exactly know what I wanted it to be. And then taking that class kind of showed me like, oh, this is like an option. And
Yes.
I've always loved movies and I've loved like visual arts and like visual storytelling. I just like never realized that it was like a possibility, I guess.
Mhm.
In the class, I enjoyed it so much. I like loved your energy and like how chill but like passionate you were. Like I feel
Yes.
like I really it was like so charismatic to me. And yeah, after that class, I literally decided to like become a film major.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think in the olden days there were more students who took more classes with me because there were less professors.
Right.
So you could have a student who took 9 or 10 classes with
Okay,
me
and
over
that's not the
years.
case now?
No, because there's a lot of professors and the way the requirements are and
Oh.
the things I teach, and for whatever reason, 2 or 3 would be a good amount,
Yes.
but I feel
Mhm.
like you took like 5 or 6.
I took every single
I
class
think
that
I
you
took
had.
more.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Like
20 years.
every single semester, looking at the schedule, like enrolling into my classes, I'm looking for Alan's classes.
And it
And
was
I don't care what class that is. Like I'm taking
Right,
it.
right.
and it was helpful because having Hannah and I know I'm not saying Hannah, but it's
It's
just
It's
it's a
okay.
fine.
It's
long
okay.
story, but I'm
Yes.
saying
It's okay.
but it just was ensured me that someone would be present, someone would be engaged, someone would be with me and taking in the class, getting the jokes,
Mhm.
just sort of just being there with me. So I really, really appreciated having you in class always.
So
Kind of,
basically, she was like your TA when you didn't have a TA.
yes,
She was like
always,
your student assistant when you had
always,
no,
yes, absolutely,
like,
absolutely,
And
yes,
I loved it.
yes, you would,
I know.
absolutely, yes,
I feel the same. Okay,
yeah.
so
Your story
we
time.
will lead in to how I met him. I think well, I always knew I was going to be a film major, so I just signed up for all the film classes. I mean, I took so many I think like a lot, right? Like 10 or more. Like a
Hmm.
lot. Like multiple every semester, especially at the end. Like at the
Yes, at
end,
the
like
end,
just
yeah,
maybe mainly
yeah,
his classes.
yeah.
And I was like your TA and I don't know, but initially, I remember it was the same aesthetics class or that drew me to it because it's like the first time actually I'm taking like a school related class about movies. And like to me that's cool in itself, right? Cuz you're not teaching that in high school and you're like, okay, this is my education. Like I'm learning about. So I really took it seriously. And so I really was like listening to the things you were saying and like taking it and like trying to like take it all in and it clicked. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like maybe I'm like like a film genius." Like honestly, like freshman year,
No
I'm like,
way.
I might be like the
I
next.
might
Like I
just be.
really get it. Like he's talking about like colors. I see the colors. Like
Oh, I
he's talking
love
about the
colors.
things. I see the things. Like and I don't know. And we just got along. And then I feel like I had like other like non-school related things I could just come to you with and you were just kind of like nice. So earlier
Mhm.
I mentioned that you were in your introduction actually. I said you were an Emmy-winning writer for what show?
I won the Emmys on As the World Turns.
That's like a huge show.
It was, it's no longer, but it was on for many, many, many years.
No, it is. I remember like growing up my um babysitter used to have it on all the time. So
Yeah,
like I kind of grew up my childhood listening to that in the background.
yeah,
Like
so
how does the jingle
Really?
go? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Like
I
as the world turns,
did it really
no?
go like
I
that?
don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember. I very rarely watched the shows I wrote for, which is problematic. But
Hmm.
Is that like a common
well, it's yeah. And early on, I realized that if you actually did watch the show, you were much more powerful because then when the producers were arguing about something not working, you're like, "Well, I saw on the show today it worked."
true,
And if you didn't watch the show, you couldn't really say that.
true.
But it just took so long to write the show, and especially when I was writing for As the World Turns, I was also teaching. So I was in Fort Worth teaching at TCU, writing at night. So the idea of putting aside time to watch the show was really hard.
Too much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that either. I didn't know you were teaching at TCU and writing at the same time.
Yeah. Because I lived in LA for 8 years and wrote for soaps for most of that time.
Mhm.
And then I had been head writer of Days of Our Lives and then was very briefly on General Hospital and l- got fired from both shows quickly.
Oh.
And so there were only 2 more shows left in California, and I decided I really wanted to teach, because of the experiences I had in grad school.
Mhm.
And while I was in grad school in Indiana, I also had a chance to write for a cable soap, which is a very long story. You could do a whole podcast about that.
A cable soap
It's about the cable soap
versus
and what I
mhm.
did. But anyway, I wrote for this
Well,
cable
next time
soap,
we will have it.
yes, called The Catlins. And if you have listeners in Atlanta, they might remember the Catlins from the 80s. They have to be old
Anyone
listeners,
listening from Atlanta,
old
the
people from
Catlin.
Atlanta,
So
the
you
Catlins.
wrote.
Well, my writing
You had
professor at
a little to
school
do with
was
that.
the head writer of that show.
He knew someone that wrote that show.
That's a very simple way of putting it. Anyway, so I got to write a few episodes that I
No,
got paid
cool.
for, so I was able to put on my resume. So when we went to
Yes.
LA in 1985 to break into writing, I had a contact with These Were Lies, and he saw that I'd written for a soap. So he listened to me and let me write a spec script for that, and that's how I got on that show. Um, so the jobs I did from LA, I had to be on site at the shows to do those jobs, the kind of writing jobs they were involved with the show.
Oh, really?
But then when I decided to when I got this teaching job in '93,
Mhm.
I went to the executives from the 2 shows I was on, so it was NBC and ABC, and said, "Look, I'm gonna be going to teach, but I imagine you only teach a couple days a week, so I'll probably have plenty of time to write."
Right.
So, script writers, which was really the lowest level of writing for soaps, but
Mhm.
dialogue writers could live elsewhere. Even before computers and before modems, you
Okay.
could just
Like,
they
submit your
they
work.
just did the writing by everything was done. We had one writer who lived in for one show, there was a writer who lived in Hawaii,
Mhm. Oh,
and they would
wow.
just sit by the beach and write, and then they'd send their script by,
Nice.
uh, overnight mail,
I want that
and
job.
so I said I could do that from school, and so from '93 to 2001, I spent a lot of time. Most of those years I was writing and teaching for different shows,
And that's
and that's when I won we won the Emmy for As the World Turns during that period, and every writer on the show gets an Emmy if that show wins the writing Emmy. So I
I
have
know, but don't try to
no,
downplay
but
it.
no,
Like,
I
don't
have
it's
to there were
amazing.
I happen to have written the first show you put forward a couple of shows
Right.
for the nominee, and I had written one of the 2 shows that had put forward for best script and
Mhm.
best writing and
Mhm.
best acting, and
Mhm.
so I did have a hand in it. The second year, I was already fired by the time we won, but I had written enough scripts that I was on the team that won. But
Mhm.
what's amazing is that this
So 2 Emmys.
so yes, there are 2 Emmys.
2
The
Emmys.
awards were given out on Friday night, which is Shabbat, and we're Jewish. My wife was a cantor, so some of your listeners will know what that means.
Of
And that meant that
course.
I couldn't go to Radio City to
Oh,
pick up the
no,
award
on that
because I
day.
didn't write on Shabbat, so it would look uh, what's the word? When you're hypocritical, it would look hypocritical.
It would
Mhm.
look hypocritical,
So
right,
so
correct.
I did not get those. But when I was interviewed for the Fort Worth Star Telegram and I told them about that, that got picked up by an online, short-lived online Jewish magazine called Jewsweek.com, and they made a list of the 50 most influential Jews in America, and I was number 46
Wow.
That is
because I was an Emmy-winning soap opera writer who was too religious to go pick up the Emmy. And so that earned me that. And then they never did that list again. There was only one time.
I mean,
I'm
I think you
still
should have made
the
number 1.
46th most influential. I
Definitely.
probably moved up, or some people above me have died.
Oh,
So I could be like the
well, because there's only been
41st.
1 list, so
Right.
as
Yes.
people
Yes.
die, you will
Yes.
move
I'm
up.
moving up there. Yeah.
But still, that was great. I mean, how did that make you feel? Were you torn with that? Did you want to go, but then like, "No, I shouldn't go."
Well,
Or just knew like, "I can't go
I
on
just
this
couldn't.
day,
I
it's
just
just
felt
what it
like I
is."
couldn't go. I felt that would
Right.
just really be like, I just, and Sherry, I guess she wasn't a cantor by then. Because
Sherry.
once
Oh, yeah, you mentioned wife
My
Sherry?
wife Sherry, who had became a cantor as a second career, and is a cantor in the conservative movement. So she like has to like not do those things.
Right, she just can't.
So
Yeah.
you're not supposed to. But the thing that was hardest about it was that the awards were at Radio City Music Hall, where I grew up as a
I
kid, going
know,
all the
and, like,
time to see this.
idolizing
Yeah.
the
So to be in there and have won an award. But the first time, to be honest, the new head writer had come in. I had a feeling I was going to be fired. And the second time, I'd already been fired. So the fun of going up and accepting an award with a bunch of people who have fired you or are going to fire you is
right,
not that exciting. It was more fun to be home with my family and get the phone call that, oh, you
right,
won.
right. So, you write for soap operas, and you're working at TCU, and then you decide, "Okay, teaching is gonna be, like, my
Well, when I
solo."
was in grad school, I went to grad school. I went to
Tell
grad
wait, when
school
did you go to grad school?
I went to grad school after undergraduate school. I went to
Oh,
Stanford as
right
a
after.
freshman. I went to Stanford as a freshman.
Ooh, nice.
Didn't feel comfortable there.
Okay, not
Went back to NYU.
right.
Graduated from NYU with a film degree. Didn't really know anything about film. My father had a business. I said, I'm going to graduate,
So,
Dad.
no artistic background, family.
Well, so there was that. And my father loved theater and go to the theater and come home and play the records and sing the
Okay,
songs, but
so
he
it was
wasn't
an
an actor.
but it was
So
an influence in
yeah,
the house, but
and
not a
also
direct.
and also at that time I born in 1959,
Mhm,
so that's like this baby boomer still generation,
mhm,
and the generation before were like coming to America and getting to work, and but now like people my age, like especially the generation before me, like Woody Allen's generation, Philip
mhm.
Roth generation, Neil Simon, they were Jews. Rod Serling, people who were Jewish who wanted to be writers who became writers,
Right,
and I was like destined to be that. It was like
right,
my family just thought, oh, he's going to be a famous writer,
right.
and I'm like, I guess I'm going to be a famous writer, and I just didn't. and even they would say, like, "Why don't you send ideas into television?" Because that's what people had done the generation before me.
Right,
There was
and
just
it's
so many
like, you
I'm
can't
like, "I can't just send
send
things to television,"
ideas, right.
but
Mm.
they just send them their scripts because that's what people had done.
Mhm,
So, yeah, so the idea was I'm gonna be an actor or a writer, and I
mhm,
just kinda thought that that would happen.
mhm.
I thought I was funny, and I would host talk shows, and I would be like Paul Lynde or Charles Nelson Riley, who were like these comic
And
actors
it
who were
did
like
ha
on
it in a way, it did
well,
happen.
that's
You
Yeah.
exactly
were a writer, you did win, like, the highest award in
well,
writing.
but to be honest, the thing that I do that's most like what I wanted to do is the teaching
Oh,
because
that's great.
because I feel like no one and we had talked about this at some point, the idea that when you're doing something where no one expects you to be great in that area. It's like I was better at writing soap operas because I could write comedy for soap operas and no one expected it to be that funny.
Right.
Mhm.
So was where I was when I tried to write comedy, I wasn't writing funny enough. So with teaching, the fact that I was entertaining at all was fun.
Mhm.
And it was kind of like performance art for me
Yes.
because I could like take whatever happened to me during the day or in my life and interact with the student. And that's why I can't stand it when the students aren't interacting back
I know,
because then
I
I'm
can't
like, I'm
imagine.
talking to you and
Even, like, my small, like, time teaching, it was kind of like a performance. Every time you go out in front I mean, when you go out in front of 20 and even sometimes kids, it's worse than adults because 'cause they're meaner or
Mm.
they just don't know proper etiquette or
Or they just
whatnot.
don't care.
They don't
Like, they don't
care.
care if you care.
Yeah, so you're out there, like, doing your
and
thing.
I think the thing that it's funny because of COVID, you had a lot of students. I said the first class I taught in the classroom after COVID, it was a freshman class survey of films. They were non-majors.
Mhm,
It was their first class in college, even if they'd been home,
mhm.
and I said it was like having 20 rescue cats.
Right, I'm sure
And they
they're
were just like so scared of each other and of me.
Mhm.
Um, but I had a guy in one of those kind of classes who would sit in the back. He'd be on his phone, and I would say to him, "You got to be off your phone." He's like, really sweet guy, nice.
Yeah.
And at the end of he was the last person to finish the final. So I
Right,
sat next to him as he was doing his last thing. So then when
right.
he's done, I said, like, it's like you could have come to class a few more times. It would have been easier for you to do the
Right, like,
final.
what's the deal?
And he's like, he goes, I really did enjoy the class. I'm graduating, I'm a business major, but I really did enjoy the class. And he goes, "I really enjoy how you love doing it." He goes, "I hope whatever I do for a living, I enjoy as much as you love doing what you're doing."
Wow.
That was such a great
Yeah,
compliment.
and I felt,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? I have loved doing what I do. I really do love it. When you were there, I would still do something that because I would tell so many anecdotes
Mhm.
and my 2 degrees of separation from the people in the movies, and so I would ask you if you remember, like, extra credit questions at the end based on those stories,
Right?
and people would actually, like, when they were studying for the test, say, "Who did you go to camp with? Who was in that movie?" Just for their notes,
Mhm.
but I got in trouble for my class grades being too high. And so one of the things I
Oh.
had to do to it actually affected my salary one year.
Oh my
I
gosh,
didn't get
what?
because they were like, "Well, you're not a great teacher if the class everyone's doing this
Well, s
well."
no, it's just such a
That's
cool, fun
ridiculous,
class.
So I just,
Yeah, that's
I stopped
ridiculous.
asking
right?
We
those
loved the
questions. I
class.
stopped asking those questions.
So you're a father of 3 children. How was it like for them growing up in an artistic household? Because 'Cause I'm sure you and your wife are both artistic, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm sure you had your eccentric household,
Yes.
artistic things you did.
Yes.
So what would you say, like or I mean, like, what would you say the differences are maybe between, like, how the environment that you raise your kids in versus, like, their environment, a non-artistic
Well, for
person?
one thing, I grew up with very little self-confidence. Even if
Mhm,
I felt I was smart and funny, had very little self-esteem.
mhm,
So I wanted my kids to have a lot of self-esteem.
correct.
So I wanted them to feel good about what they did and I wanted them to do the things they loved doing. And I feel like a lot of people, especially your generation, really has programmed like this is what you're going to do to be successful. This is the college you're going to go to. These are the classes you're going to take. These are the activities you're going to do. And I'm like, you're going to do this thing. I want you to do the things you love doing and have
Right.
fun doing that and see the joy in that. And so we let them be themselves.
Mhm.
So much so I was telling Hannah earlier about how I came home from work one day and my daughter Emily, who used to visit me in class, had set up her stuffed animals like they were doing a TV show, a talk show in the studio, like she had seen my students doing,
Isn't
called
that
it the
adorable?
That's
stuffed
so
show. Because
cute.
they knew that I loved what I did,
Right.
but they also were growing up when I was writing soap operas, and they knew I didn't like that, and it was like a
Mhm.
strain. And this, so, but I would like sometimes like be writing a soap and I'd leave it on the computer and I'd come back and like 7-year-old Jeremy would have written like
Yeah,
lines,
like something and it
but and they'd be writing lines that were making fun of my writing style sometimes too.
well, that's relatable to
Yeah.
me, so
So
thank that's
it,
nice.
it
Thank
was
you, Jeremy,
it
for
was very, yeah. So they did a lot of stuff. I remember we did like what family we did a stuffed animal show where I was playing all the characters of Gone with the Wind.
yes, no, that doesn't happen no, that
And
didn't happen
Mammy
in
was a
my
little
household.
yellow smiley face, stuffed smiley face we had, and that was Mammy.
I wish I had grown up in your household.
And when I read books to them, we'd like make up our own. Like we'd use the pictures from the book, but we'd make up our own story. I'd make up
Yes.
stories for the
Oh,
books,
wow, I
and
don't go that far.
I don't have. I'm not good at like how they say people play roles every
Right,
day, and like I'm always the same role. So
right.
the way I'm talking to you right now is the way I talk to my children. It's the way I talk to my therapist. It's the way I talk to Luna when Luna's on my lap. I just talk to everybody the same. So I just talk to my kids.
Uh-huh.
So now we still have conversations about things the way we did then,
Right,
kind of.
right.
So I think that idea of it, that whoever you are and whatever you are, that's really okay.
Mhm. I think that's really important. I think that, like, I probably you talked to Hannah and I that way as well,
Oh, for
and
sure.
that's what made us feel kind of important and validated in that way, so I'm sure you always have made your kids feel validated, and that's
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
think that's so important, just, like, whatever your kids are into, like that, right?
Lean
Like,
into
it
that.
may
Yeah.
change and, like, you may know in the moment it's not, like, right or, like, whatever, but, like, just like that. Like, my daughter loves volleyball right now, and, maybe she's not gonna be, like, a star volleyball player, but, like, I know right now she likes that, so I'm gonna support that. Yeah,
They would really well.
kids are gonna be kids, and
Do
they're
what
gonna
the
decide
yeah.
what they wanna do themselves, and
Yeah.
you have nothing to
And
do
that's
with
the
it.
thing, when parents say, like, "That's not what I expected for my kid." That's not the like, h
How do you
why do you
know?
expect a life for your kid? Like, did you care what your parents thought you were gonna do? No,
Mhm,
I mean, you want your parents to support you, but you're not the life your parent dreams for you is not the life you want, and you know that at a pretty young
mhm,
age, I think. Humor is such an important element of
mhm.
my life, and, like, I always tell my classes at the beginning, I'm saying, "I'm gonna say jokes, and you're not gonna get them, or you're not gonna and don't worry because they're for me. I am amusing myself. And sometimes I'll say if you don't understand what I'm saying, often it's because I'm muttering a joke to myself.
Right.
And it's probably not that
Yeah, not
important.
even meant for you.
Yeah. But humor is what gets me through.
Yes,
And I
and
do
this is
think,
like your full-time job and you're there all
Mm.
the time, like all days. And this is how you you're sometimes you don't get you see these I mean these young kids, right? And especially if they're not majors, it's an introduction class and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I have to give my spiel to these kids that I know aren't
well,
listening to
well,
I
me."
that's
just
what,
feel
And
like seeing you enjoy teaching is making the class so much more enjoyable.
well, yeah, and it's a challenge to see if there's a way to get students to enjoy with you.
right,
Mhm.
right.
So like this
Def
comedy class I'm going to teach. I'm teaching a class with comic films, and the first half we're going to watch a lot of comedies that I like.
Mhm.
But their first assignment is going to be to review a movie online, just a short review of a comedy they love that was written since 2000, I think.
Mhm.
And then the second half of the class, we'll watch those movies.
Right.
Mhm.
So that, it's the idea, like, I want
They're
you to be a
contributing
part
to
of
the
it. Yeah,
class as
exactly.
well, yeah.
And that's why I never teach
And
a
they have
class the
to
same
learn
way
the
twice.
history of the art as well. Like you can't I feel like learn about new comedy until you learn about
Yeah.
old
And it's
comedy.
amazing how the students kinda get that. They're like, "Oh,
You kind
they
of
see
do.
those
Well, even
connections." Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin.
Yes, very good, yes.
I was talking about him the other day. But it's like really you have to learn all those stuff and like the Great Train Robbery and like the stuff I remember like from early history film classes like you have to learn that stuff to know all the other stuff.
Yeah, and
To know where you're coming from.
it's just if you wanna be creative, it makes you better, and if you just wanna enjoy movies that are out there, it makes you a better audience when you know where
Mhm.
Mhm.
things came from, so, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, we're going to end with some great advice from Professor Allen. His just
But this is not gonna be the kind of advice you're thinking I'm gonna give.
okay, go for it.
But my advice is to listen and support this podcast because
Let's go.
if you're listening now, I'm telling you that this young woman here and this young woman to my left and the one to my right have so much to offer and are going to be such great
Stop.
people for you to engage with. And you're going to enjoy it so much and it's going to inspire you to go off and do your things. I think that's what's so great about Megan's heart is that she really wants to, it's not enough for her to feel good. She wants to bring others into that joy. So I think that, and Hannah really, I don't think she can let anybody down. I just
No.
cannot. And I have a thing that I tell my classes, although somebody told me to stop doing it, which is at a certain point in the semester, I'll say, that I look at the room and think, who would I trust my life to? If somebody had to be in a certain place at a certain
I feel
moment,
like I do that often.
yeah, who would I ask to do that? And as the years have gone by, it's gone down to like Hannah.
That's so
What
sweet.
about me?
No, when you were there, it
Oh,
was you. But
no, it
You're
wasn't.
not
But I'm
around
the one to have,
anymore.
like, go like have fun with.
oh, definitely, definitely. And you did, and I think you would have wanted to be there. You would have done everything
But I
possible.
tried my best, but I
Yes.
could have got
Oh, yeah.
I could have got caught up. So
Something might have happened, but eventually you'd get there.
I would,
I might
and then
be
I
like
would perform.
I
Then I'd
might be in the ambulance already.
Okay.
But
Well,
so I think that
Well,
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I think that the heart that you guys
you
both
so
bring to
much.
it is something that everyone's going to benefit from who listens to this. So please listen more.
I feel like going off of that, yesterday we literally talked like you asked me, Megan, what's like one thing that you learned from Professor Allen throughout all the years that like we've known you? And I said he taught me to believe in myself. And she said like it would be the same thing, right?
Yes,
or like
we were
something
both
similar.
thinking-
We're
I was
both
like
thinking-
asking the question, like, okay, if we had one thing that Professor Allen taught us, what would it be? And hers was like to believe in myself, and like mine was like same thing. It was like just like have confidence in who you are, and kind of
Yeah.
like don't like don't let this moment pass you by. Like
And this is exactly what we're doing right now.
right. We've got one less segment. It's called Guess That Student, where we're going to tell you things and you have to guess if it was Hannah or myself. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Let's go. Which student once brought her dog to one of your film labs?
You.
Correct. Which student almost failed accounting?
Oh, Hannah.
Yes. I did almost
I
feel
did
like
not
I-
take accounting.
I was
I
a
think you might have
business
said that
minor.
once. You might have
Maybe.
said it to me.
That was the class I struggled most
You
in.
might have once.
Yeah.
Which student was born in August?
I know you were.
Oh,
That is
Which student dated the quarterback?
You did. You dated like every quarterback and every pitcher. Your like only date started.
Which student is known for their nose blowing in class?
Oh. I imagine you. I think you would not let yourself. Like it's not.
I blow my nose all the
I
time.
learned early.
Yeah.
And every time I do blow my nose, you're like, don't cry. Because usually when we're watching a movie, it's like in one of the labs, and you're like, don't cry.
But I think you're joking.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, no, I just, like,
Because you
my
always
nose
have
is so runny all the time.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
allergies.
exactly.
You do. And you're just like, there are things that are not pretty. Like, if it's not
I don't
pretty,
care.
I won't do it. Yeah.
My bag is literally full of used tissues.
I literally had a bad experience in elementary school where I blew my nose in front of the whole class, and they were like, ew. And so it scarred me for life. Never done it again.
It's funny because when I sneeze, it's like an earthquake. And I don't think I've rarely sneezed in class. I don't think either of you, but when I sneeze, like I fall backwards. And
my dad goes,
yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'm in that vein. Yeah.
That was so echoey.
I'm sorry. Yikes.
Right.
Okay. Which student performed in Mamma Mia?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I want to guess Hannah because it seems like that would be anti-intuitive, which would be, and you danced, but you've been asking so many questions. The answer has been you. So I'm going to go with you.
False.
Calvin's right. I tell myself.
Well, it
don't
was
look at-
tricky because I performed in one scene of Mamma Mia in your class.
that. Well,
And I was an extra.
that's what they did.
We got him.
That was
Gotcha.
that was a cool thing, though.
Yeah.
It looked like it was not working, and it kind of worked. But I did a pretty good job, didn't I? I got
No,
Yeah,
you
you
literally
did.
got everyone
Everything, yeah.
except the one where I said because the answer
because
said
you
all
thought
the
it was a
ones.
trick
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
gosh,
good
well,
job. You
yes.
know us really well.
I know. You dream professor. If you're going to TCU next year, please subscribe to every one of Richard Allen's classes. He's a true gem.
Definitely.
True gem of a
Best classes out
man,
there.
of a professor, of a mentor.
Like, subscribe, and follow the Mommy Artist podcast.
Love you. Bye.
All right, besties, my glass is empty, but my cup is full, and that means it's the end of the episode. Remember that you can't have butterfly conversations with caterpillar people, and that everyone out there is trying their best. Love you. Bye. You can find the Mommy Artists podcast on YouTube to watch the full video. Give it a like, hit subscribe, and come back next week for more iconic chaos and creative magic. But no worries if not.